Welcome to the Sublime Soiree. I'm Linda, and today we have a very special treat. We get to know our co-host Sue a little bit better with a special question bag. But before we even get into that, we want to let you know, please watch the video all the way to the end because we have a fun announcement for you yet again, and we don't want you to miss it. Now, Sue, before we get into the question bag, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am married to Doug, and we have been married for 25 years. We just celebrated our 25th in October. This is a blended family, a second marriage. We have 5 children. Doug has 2, I have 2, and we have Zach. And I am soon to be an empty nest. In a week and a half, he's moving away, our youngest. And we have 10 grandchildren. 7 that are out of state and 3 that are local. And we call them our grand treasures.
Very nice. And in your spare time, what do you like to do?
I love to meet women for coffee, go hiking. I enjoy cooking, trying new recipes, having people over, offering hospitality, really anything in my home.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so without further ado, we're going to dive into our question bag. So question number 1 is, what's a favorite family tradition?
Well, we have many. Every holiday we try to tie in some traditions, and I think the kids would say that as well. But my favorite, I think, is Thanksgiving. We often have extended family, our parents that are alive, my sister sometimes will be joining us, and then we often invite friends. And what we do is gather around the table, and everyone has a piece of paper, and we ask them to write down what they're thankful for. And usually it's anywhere between 5 and 10 items. And we take time going around the table and sharing that. We date it, and the fun thing is sometimes we'll look back in past years and remember how God answered a specific prayer and even walking through some difficult seasons.
Okay.
But it's always a very rich time of connecting and remembering what the day's about. It's also great when you have guests in your home that are from out of state or even neighbors. This year we had a friend of my son's, and it was just great to be able to give him some insight into our family and just how we celebrate Thanksgiving.
That's so neat. And you were just being your authentic selves. That's neat. Okay. Who is an influential person in your life?
Well, I've been really blessed to have some older women in my life that have poured into me, but I think probably my most influential person is my dad. My dad is someone I greatly respect. He is a man who loves God and loves others really well. And I know sometimes when I have tough decisions to make or a deep question, I often will go to him to run it by him and get his thoughts.
Yeah.
And he really is someone who I feel like walks the talk.
And I remember you and I were out of town once, and I was going through a really rough time. I had something that I had to make a decision about, and you said, let me call my dad. And you called him, and boy, he just got right on the phone with me, and his advice was hopeful. His advice was very sage, very wise, but it also was just very calm. Your dad has a calm demeanor, and he's a good guy for sure.
Thank you.
Okay. One good thing that happened today.
Well, I will be having my husband home here in just probably an hour or so. He has been in New York on business for almost 3 weeks and called last night to say he's coming home early.
Yay!
So I'm super excited. So yes.
That's a wonderful surprise.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. How would you spend one free day? You don't have very many of those, so how would you spend it?
Well, I enjoy being able to sleep in. I'm generally an early riser, but getting up when the spirit moves me. I love coffee, so having a nice cup of coffee. And I really enjoy reading. I often listen to some podcasts and journal. And then probably it would be to meet a friend for lunch or coffee,
Mm-hmm.
maybe including a hike or a walk. And then probably sitting around the table with my husband over dinner and making a nice dinner, planning
Mm-hmm.
that out. I really enjoy cooking.
Okay. So a lot of connection points
Mm-hmm.
would be a good day for
Mm-hmm.
you. That's
Definitely.
wonderful. All right, let's see here. Your idea, and maybe you've already told us about it, your idea of a good surprise.
Well, I think it would be my husband coming home early. But yes, that's the first thing that comes to mind today.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's see. What's a favorite summer memory?
When I think of summer, I think we had a really great summer, even amidst COVID. I feel like we tried to be intentional with being outdoors and hiking, biking,
Mm-hmm.
taking walks, sitting out on our patio, which we
Mm-hmm.
thoroughly enjoy. But my favorite probably would be going for a car ride with my husband.
Okay.
He has a little MG that's older. We call it a pocket rocket. It's actually a 1975. And we have enjoyed many car rides this summer, starting early, taking a cup of coffee,
Mm-hmm.
cruising all over Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And then one fun day, we took a picnic, stopped, pulled over, and had a picnic
Oh,
at a
how
park.
fun.
But yes, and listening to some great oldies and just enjoying being outdoors
That's
in the
so
car.
fun. That kind of harkens back to the old days and
Mhm.
vintage. And oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
A slower pace.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. What is a favorite childhood memory?
I think for me, it would be our family vacations. My family was very intentional about doing vacations, and mostly because my dad's family lived in Montana. So we would make a point of visiting every summer when school was out for 2 weeks or so. And we had a
Okay.
camper. We would drive out there, and my dad would charge us with the responsibility of planning the trip.
Okay.
So we would list out tourist attractions that we want to visit, state capitals. One time we went swimming in the hot springs. We would stay at campgrounds, and he would let us cook. So we would have things like jello and macaroni and cheese and hot dogs. And it was just a quest for fun. And then we would visit our family, and a lot of special memories there. And even to this day, I have some great relationships with cousins who are in the Montana area.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, let's see here. So, one word to describe your life.
The word that comes to mind is intentional. My heart and desire is to be intentional in everything that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it starts first thing in the morning by spending time with God, really planning out my day, and really connecting with people. And I want people to feel like when I'm with them, there's no one else.
Mm-hmm.
And really looking at each thing that I do being purposeful.
That's wonderful. And when you're living like that, you have a track to run on. You are not whiling away your days. You are living each day with purpose. And I would imagine that makes it far more joyful.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So, Sue, what is a tough challenge that you have overcome?
Well, I've definitely had challenges, but I think one of the challenges that stick out in my mind right now is going through a divorce in 1992, having 2 little children under the age of 3, working full time, 4 10-hour days, trying to be productive in my job and provide a good income for our family, and balancing it all. I feel like that was a time of intense pressure and stress. It was also a time that I leaned in toward God, and I think I'd been given the foundation of a Christian home, but I think going back to what I believed and knew in my heart, and it was kind of just a realigning of my walk with God, and I was desperate. I needed his help, and he did help me.
Which just shows again that what looks like the end, what looks like death, what looks like loss leads to life with God.
Amen.
That's
Yes.
so neat. Okay, we have one final question. What do you love the smell of?
Well, I already mentioned Thanksgiving,
Uh-huh.
so I hesitate to say that, but I'm going to because that's the smell that I love. I love any sense with fall. I think Thanksgiving Day, the smell of a turkey, fresh baked bread, pies, sweet potatoes. I think throughout the year, and especially in the fall, your fall scents, ginger, cinnamon bark, nutmeg, pumpkin. And I love to diffuse oils, and those smells I have going constantly.
Sue loves autumn and celebrates it beautifully. So if you want any autumn celebration tips, this is the lady to talk to. Okay, so we have finished up our question bag, but I don't want to shut everything down yet until we've let you say any last words that you would want to say to our viewers.
Well, I think my word of encouragement is just for women and young moms that life has many, many challenges. And right now we are being pressed in with a lot of external realities in our world. And we do have a guarding God who can help us live free above the fray. And I just want to encourage you to keep on keeping on.
That's a great word of advice for sure. Now, we have some really fun things coming up this month. This is, if you can believe it, the 1st of February. We're into the second month of 2021, which is shocking. And of course, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. So we have deemed this month the Love Month because we want to look at all ways to love well. And we have a wonderful guest who's going to be joining us next week for an interview.
Yes.
And her name is Leanne Brisbane. She is the founder of Free to Be Ministries. And Sue, you and I had the opportunity to listen to her just a few weeks ago. And she really talked about that sacrificial love between husband and wife. And there are a lot of misnomers about sacrificial love. But Leanne shared truth with us, and it was good truth. It was truth worth listening to for sure. So please come back next week and you can hear Leanne's full interview and learn a lot. And then we'll have some more guests that we're going to be interviewing throughout the month and just showing us all sorts of ways to love everybody well, everybody who crosses our path. So you want to make sure that you stay tuned. And how can they stay tuned? Well, you can stay tuned by following us on Instagram or Facebook. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can visit our website, thesublimesoiree.org. And if you have any specific questions about today's interview, maybe Sue in sharing about intentionality or her Thanksgiving tradition or her trip to Montana, maybe there's some questions you'd like to ask. If so, please message us on Facebook or Instagram. You could even email us at thesublimesoiree@gmail.com. So please stay tuned, come to the soiree table, invite your friends to the soiree table. And until next week,
may your week be sublime, free above the fray.